Well, welcome back for another episode of the Chamber Podcast. We have another great show for you today. Joining me in studio is Stephanie Dunn from Kona Ice here in Brighton, Michigan. Welcome, Stephanie.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm glad to be here.
Well, we're glad that you're here. So we're a fun topic today.
Yes.
Something that a lot of people, I would imagine, nearly everyone has probably sampled at least once in their life from one company or another. But we're talking about shaved ice.
Yes. Yep. Shaved ice. And though it's here in the middle of March, there's a lot of snow on the ground. Some of the best snow comes from the shaved ice of Kona Ice, and we're gearing up to get ready for the spring and summer. That's
awesome. So I would think, even though it gets pretty cold here in Michigan, it's a year-round thing, right? You can always have shaved ice.
Exactly. It's just like ice cream or other frozen treats that go through the winter. Shaved ice can be a treat even when it's cold outside.
Yeah, I was telling you in the pre-show, my kids love it. They have a machine that's dedicated just for that very thing. So before we get into the business, I want to talk a little bit about you. So tell me a little bit about how one gets into the shaved ice business.
Well, Kona Ice as a national franchise makes it very easy, and they're very transparent on the website. Anybody who's interested in it can get a lot of information just like I did. But I had a personal contact that introduced me to Kona Ice. It was my cousin, or she still is my cousin, out of Lansing, and she started the Kona Ice business in 2018. And I had never heard of Kona Ice before then. Of course, I'd heard of snow cones and shaved ice, but not that particular company. And when I went to see her in action in 2018, I fell in love with it. Because I myself have always wanted to have some type of party, bringing people fun and enjoyment with treats. And that started with me way back in 1990 when I went to California for the first time. And I was on the beach, and they were called date shakes, and there were shake shacks on the beach, and they would serve up treats to people on the beach. And I thought, what a fun job that would be.
Yeah.
So I thought, tucked it in my head, retirement, I could maybe possibly do something like that, have something fun, relaxing, enjoyable, always having a party or fun or bringing treats and smiles to everybody. So my real job at the time, I have a bachelor's degree from Michigan Technological University, and I've worked mainly for chemical companies. So I've worked inside labs, more scientific, more, I should say, it's fun in a way, but not fun like being outside and having a party.
Sure.
So in 2019, I started this part-time and brought it to the Livingston County area. And then it grew and grew. And then in 2021, went full-time in with the business and have the 3 pieces of equipment now.
Okay. So tell me how the business operates. You mentioned the 3 pieces of equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So what's a day in the life like for you in a busy summer month?
It's long days. It's make hay while the sun shines. So in the summer, we do have 3 pieces of equipment. We are family run for family fun. It's my husband, myself, and mainly our daughter, who is a teacher. So she will help us during our busy times on the weekends in the spring and summer. So it can be a variety of different things, from farmers markets to early sports tournaments having to be in place by 7 o'clock or 6:30 sometimes before the crowds gather. And then all day long into parties in the afternoon, week-long festivals or weekend-long Thursday, Friday, Saturday festivals. So we go pretty much as much as we can do to fit in the clients who want us to be part of their fundraising or part of their festivities. So we do have to plan logistics because we travel to you. Our door is usually always open, but we have to travel between, so we have to plan the timing between the 3 pieces of equipment. So it can be very, the logistics, which I normally do, can be tricky at times, but we try and plan enough time so no one is hurried between jobs, but to meet all of the requests that we have in a day.
Yeah. And when you started the business, how do you find most of the business that you acquire?
They find us.
Okay. I
can truly say that most of especially early on, the first year we started, there is people who would look for Kona Ice or shaved ice would go to the Kona Ice, the national website, kona-ice.com, and put in a zip code, and we would come up and they would contact us. Oh. So then we reached out to schools and did a formal introduction of a postcard to the schools and different businesses in the area to let them know that Kona Ice is now here in the neighborhood. And we're fun and affordable, lots of flavors, and word of mouth, a lot of word of mouth too. So and when we started, 2020 was an odd year. We started in 2019 part-time. Yeah. And then 2020, a lot of things shut down, but we went into neighborhoods. We were able to go as a food truck into neighborhoods and safely serve to families in neighborhoods. Parades, we would leave parades for graduation and birthday parties. That was popular back in 2020. So we really got to meet a lot of our customers face to face and not at large sports events or big festivals. So I think that, the silver lining that we did get to meet a lot of people and go into a lot of neighborhoods at that time.
Well, it's interesting because you're starting a business in an economy that is atypical, right? It's not a usual business operating procedure. So you've seen kind of the weird part of the business, and now the normal part is the part that you haven't done as much because you started right in the middle of a pandemic.
That's it exactly. We never had a normal year till maybe last year. First year was part-time, then it was 2020. 21 was still a little, things were opening up, but not really, or very last minute, hey, we can do this now, can you make it? And we truly can. If we have availability in our calendar, we can do same day. If we have a truck in the area and we can get there in time, our trucks are always fully stocked with lots of stuff. So we can be same day or next day if we have that availability. So last year, 2022, really gave us kind of a flavor of what a normal season with sports tournaments and schools being open and festivals back open and what the business could be like.
Yeah. And what has that been like going from, the chemical lab to running a food truck full time? What's that transition been like?
I love the science of my job in the chemical labs, but it's mainly always inside. And as like with anybody who works in a corporate job, especially you can go in when it's dark and come out when it's dark. Being outside all the time in the summer, I love it. I absolutely love it. And I love being face to face with our customers. It's as the owner of the business, and it's a small business, I wear lots of hats. Everybody, my husband and my daughter do too. But you get to follow through with maybe talking to someone on the phone to plan an event, then to being at the event, seeing the families and actually being asked back again. We've had many repeat customers every year. We come in for a certain party. So it's just really nice building up those community relationships. On the flip side, sometimes it's hard because we get a lot more requests than we can usually fill. So that is the downside of it. We can't do as much as we're really requested.
I see. Is that an area where you might look to expand and add another truck, or are you pretty comfortable with where you're at right now?
Well, we've thought about that, and that always could be an option. And we will see how this year goes too. If we add on another, maybe another kiosk or trailer or a different piece of equipment, that could be a possibility. Yes.
Cool. So I want to talk more about Kona Ice Company I wasn't familiar with. And we were talking in the pre-show a little bit about some things that makes that company different, which sounded really interesting. So tell me a little bit about some of the X factors, so to speak, for the company.
Yep. Kona Ice is a wonderful company. It is the largest food truck franchise in the world. And even though we're a dessert truck, we still are considered a food truck. But the family, the man who started the company back in 2009, wanted to have an opportunity for families. He has, I think, a family of 6. I think he has 4 kids. So wanted to have treats be affordable for families. So his idea was for a family of 4 or 5 to have a special treat for right around $20 when they go to a festival. So that got my attention too when I realized that the bottom line is to try and make it fun but affordable for families. And then also the give back to the community. I've lived in the Livingston County area since 1988, right after I graduated from college. My kids grew up here. They went to the schools here. We went to church here. So to be the official Kona Ice person, to bring this back to the community, and then also to be giving back. When we do fundraisers for nonprofits or schools or even sports teams, so they can sometimes pay refs or buy some new pieces of sports equipment, I love that where people gather, where we can give back and help people fundraise for good causes.
That's awesome. And what would one expect when they go to a Kona Ice truck? So kind of walk me through some of the specials. Obviously it's all shaved ice, but I know the fun parts in the flavoring, right?
Yes. Yeah. We have our standard top 10 flavors that are on the flavor wave, and those are self-dispensed. So depending on what size you want, we have a size from 12 ounce up to 22 ounces. So we call that big one the cowabunga. So whatever size is your appetite, you can go to the flavor wave and put on any combination of flavors that you want. So some may only want to be like a purist of a cherry and a blue raspberry. Some people like the rainbow, where there's a mango and the lime and the blue raspberry and cherry. So you can add as much as you want. And because it's shaved ice, we take clean bagged ice, so it never touches our hands. It goes right into our shaver. And there's a carousel shaver that shaves it into snow. You could actually have a snowball fight with it. That's so cool. The flavor clings to each bite of the shaved ice cup, not where it sinks to the bottom and there's larger pellets of ice. So every bite is delicious.
That's really neat. And you'd mentioned too that there's some differences in the makeup of the product as well. Talk to me a little bit about that. Yeah,
just to carry on with that, I forgot to mention the other top 10 flavors. Usually we always have about 10 to 14 flavors on board, and 2 are usually, we try and always have stevia flavors on board that are calorie-free for any adult or child that's on a restricted diet. In fact,
nice.
More adults that were on keto diets, that was very popular. The stevia was a very popular option for adults too. So we have a wide variety of different flavors. Kona Ice has just a multitude of flavors. And for an adult party or an different party, there can be crafted flavors that are mocktail flavors, that we have different ones that would taste like cocktails, but of course there's no alcohol in them. And then a bunch of different flavors that kids like cotton candy and bubble gum. We have one called bug juice, all different flavors. So the flavors are made from Kona Ice specifically, and the base that we create it from is called VitaBlend, and it has vitamin C and vitamin D in it. And then it's a lower sugar content. We use less sugar, and it gives it more of that good fruit flavor without being overly sweet.
Okay.
So there is no high fructose corn syrup in it. Yes, there is sugar, but it's pure cane sugar. And when you're looking at a cup of ice, maybe our classic 12-ounce size is mostly water. And just even with almost a quarter cup or 3 ounces of flavoring on it, still a very small percentage of sugar, and it's mostly hydration. So we're very popular with the athletes and sports teams.
That's awesome. Have you guys ever, this is a question solely for me, have you guys ever partnered with like a bourbon cart and you guys do like some bourbon shaved ice?
Well, yes. Well, I would say at private parties, hosts and hostesses of those parties can use our product as a mixer. Yes, and we actually have a bourbon black cherry vanilla flavor that's one of our mocktails. It's very, very popular with some of the gentlemen.
Oh, wow.
So at parties, there can be the shaved ice. We have the shaved ice, and then they will have a table of spirits next to that
okay.
At the host's discretion can add some spirits to the shaved ice. And that happens also at weddings. We have been more and more invited to weddings, especially when there were the restrictions during 20 and 21 with more outdoor weddings and food trucks at weddings. We are very good between the wedding itself and the reception, where there's kind of maybe a downtime when the pictures are being taken. That's a very popular time for Kona Ice to come in for an hour or two and just provide refreshment. And then also that could be taken over to a bar and have spirits added.
That's a good PSA, because I'll tell you what, I hate going to weddings, and when they're all off taking pictures, I'm sitting there for an hour and a half with nothing to do. Like if you're getting married, really think about how your guests are spending that time, because it makes me not want to go to weddings.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And sometimes, there's hors d'oeuvres or food, but it just adds a little bit of festivity. For weddings too, we can offer our plastic color change cup that's reusable, that can be personalized with the date and the bride and groom's name. And possibly we can even create a custom flavor for the bride and groom if they choose.
That's cool. Yeah. So in the few years that you've been at this, what's been your favorite part of working on the truck?
I think the favorite part that I get is that we bring so many smiles to kids. It's like no matter where we might be at, whether it's a school day, a field day at the end of the year, or even at a sports tournament for maybe the team that didn't win, when they come up to the Kona truck, it's all smiles. It's all smiles and fun, and they're so happy to be there. They're happy for that treat, for that flavor. And it just makes me feel good that we can provide that to the community.
That's great. And I know you said that, if you guys have availability, same day, next day, you guys are always down to do that. But I imagine in the summer, it's best to plan early.
Yes. And I can absolutely say some of our weekends are already totally booked.
Okay.
Even to get a late in the day party might be difficult on some of those weekends.
Okay.
But we've come to parties at 8 p.m. Again, depending on what the needs of the customer are, we try and go. We service manufacturing. We work the third shift. We go at 1 a.m. in the morning when they're on lunch and can provide a treat then. So planning ahead is best. If you have a date, to please call, let us know. But we can do next day or same day if possible.
So if any listener wants to get on this train and get some Kona Ice at a party that they're hosting, what's the best mechanism for them to do that?
The best way to do that would be through our email, and I can give that to you now, or
yeah, we can put it in the show notes of the show. That way, no one's got to text and drive.
Yeah,
if someone's listening. But yeah, everything from the website to the email, all of that would be in the show notes for the podcast.
Just send us an email. And another way too that many people reach us is through Facebook. If they go to our Kona Ice of Brighton Facebook page and message us, we can get a message that way too. So we usually try and go back to the email, but initial contact certainly by Facebook message.
Sure. That's awesome. Well, Stephanie, anything else before we wrap up today?
I would only like to add that with the fundraising, now that the schools have been more, maybe in a more normal pace and have opened up more, there's a lot that Kona Ice can do with Kona Ice Days to provide additional fundraising during the school year, or at least 6 months out of the school year. So if anyone is interested in that, and it's a good fit for middle schools, because middle school PTAs and PTOs, I think, sometimes struggle in raising funds. A lot of emphasis is on the elementary school years, but there's still a need for the middle schools.
Sure.
So we might be able to provide an opportunity to do some fundraising for any school, but maybe the middle schools too.
Great. That's awesome. And we'll make sure to include some notes on that in the section of the show as well.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Rob.
Well, I appreciate your time, Stephanie. Thank you so much.
I enjoyed being here. Thank you so much for having me.
Great. All right, everyone, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the Chamber Podcast. I appreciate all of you watching, and we'll be back next week with another show. Thanks so much. Take care.